The Sobros Network proudly brings to you two friends reunite coast to coast to phone it in on history, the creepy and the bizarre, lifestyle and travel, psychological and sociological phenomena. Well, pretty much anything. This is Phone It In on the Sobros Network. All right. Episode 57 of Phone It In is live. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're going to see how this thing holds up. I've already gone live once and immediately lost power. We're under a tornado watch here in the Nashville area. So who knows what's going to happen? Who knows how long this is going to be up here? We're gonna do our best nonetheless. I am, of course, Big Natural Stoney Keeley. You can follow me on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Follow us collectively at Sobros Network on all major social media platforms. Joined as usual by the star of the show herself. She is the cryptid queen of Sobros Network, Rooster. Rooster, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm good.
It's been a hectic day.
Yeah, I'm nervous that you're gonna freeze again and I'm gonna be stuck here on my own. I don't know what to do.
Just read the show itinerary, read the show agenda, the show notes to people.
I'll just read. Yeah, they can just log in and watch me read some shit.
I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know. Like I was telling you before we went live, I'm like, if I lose power in the middle of this broadcast, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if it's just gonna boot me because we might be on StreamYard servers that, maybe it has nothing to do with my internet. This stream just exists out on the internet somewhere, and you're just by yourself left stranded there to conduct the show, or if it'll shut the whole thing down. I don't know, but interesting to see.
Kind of terrified.
You don't think you could host a show?
No,
do a solo show.
No.
Why not?
Well, so first of all, I don't even really like podcasts. They're just one person typically, unless it's really good content and they, they have a bunch of shit to talk about.
Yeah.
But that's not what we do here.
I do a lot of one-man shows.
Well, on this one, I don't have a lot of in-depth, informative.
That's why I said just read the show notes.
Yeah. I mean, oh God, it's happening.
I don't know if you have the permissions to end the stream or not, but hopefully we just won't have to deal with that.
You're lagging a little bit. Your video is lagging, so I'm real nervous.
That could be anything though. Was my audio still good at least?
It was. I think maybe it skipped a second or two, but then when I heard you, I immediately sighed with relief.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, my video lagging isn't necessarily out of the ordinary.
That's true.
That happens.
How is it there? Is it still really in the storm?
No, it's super quiet now. It was
good.
It came for 5 minutes and just intense rain, thunder, lightning, and then it's gone. And now the sun's trying to break through the clouds, but I don't know that it's over though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We had a really intense wave at about 11:30 this morning. Came in, went, and then the sun was brightly shining on the backyard. And then I heard him on the news saying, no, that's not a good thing. That's actually really bad because we've got another wave coming and this is going to produce potentially a tornado. But we're good. I mean, the guys at Nash Severe Weather X on Twitter, they said there's only a 10% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of us. So,
I saw that.
I'm good.
Great Twitter.
Yeah, I opt to go glass half full on this and say that means there's a 90% chance that there won't be a tornado within 25 miles of us. Anyway, this is Phone It In. We do have our minds right and our asses tight. If you are joining us for the live broadcast, get into the comments with us while you can. And let us know how your Tuesday's going and what you think of today's topic, which is the Qin Shi Huang Mausoleum Terracotta Army. We're gonna touch on a little bit. Did I do okay in the
Yeah.
pronunciation for that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, good. So, Rooster, what was it? This one was like way out of left field. This one
Mm.
was something I don't recall ever talking to you about before when we were talking about potential show ideas for the future. What was it about this topic that had you like, nah, this is what we're gonna do on Tuesday, April the 2nd?
Well, I have sort of like a little list of ideas, and it was on there for me. I've had a little terracotta soldier and had a little book that came with him. I don't think I have the soldier anymore though. I don't know where he ended up.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I don't know, I like it. I like Chinese history.
Yeah, I have always seen like the Terracotta Army
Mhm.
and like the and not like the ancient wonders of the world or anything like that, but like not that, but something like it. Like all the lists
Mhm.
of like, hey, there's this weird stuff here that nobody really knows that much about. And that is the extent to my knowledge on
Yeah, the
today's topic.
terracotta soldiers float around. I mean, they pop up and stuff, so
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But other than that, I'm completely dark on my Chinese history. I don't know a whole lot about Chinese history at all.
Mm, well.
So this is going to be highly educational for me as well as our viewers, I presume. So
Yeah.
let's dig right in then, unless there's any more you want to preface with.
No.
Okay, well let's go.
Okay.
Qin Shi
Um,
Huang.
Qin Shi Huang. Um, it's actually really I like saying that. We used to watch a Chinese show where they would say "sure" a lot, and we
Yeah,
would walk around the house, and whenever we would say "sure," we would say it like we were Chinese.
great. We're gonna get
Anyway.
kicked off the internet.
um, so okay, he was February 259 to July 210 BC is when he lived. So going
Long
way
time,
back.
long time ago.
He was the founder of the Qin dynasty and the first emperor of China. Number one.
Okay, okay.
Um, Rather than maintain the title of king borne by the previous Shang and Zhao rulers, he assumed the invented title of emperor, which would see continuous use by monarchs in China for the next 2 millennia.
So you're telling me nobody was called the emperor until this guy came along?
Right, they were king. Well, before him, you had the warring states.
Okay.
So under him, he kind of united everything and switched from like a bunch of different philosophies that were happening to just having legalism, which is kind of more about rules and hardcore law and justice, whatever. So with all the laws, he was able to unify more, and he was kind of, you know, an emperor, not a king.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if this is legit, if we can trust the annals of history on this one, then this man belongs in like the branding hall of fame because
Mm, mhm.
you just, completely invent the term and like that's you. You're number one. You're the first. Now every other emperor that comes along is just gonna be second, third, fourth fiddle.
Yep.
So that's just a master class in branding is all I would
Yeah.
add to that.
Yeah. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He was an interesting person. China's
As
cool as hell. Chinese history is very cool. It's very old, very sophisticated shit.
yeah.
I don't think people look into it. When you think ancient history, most people like to really think about, Egypt. That's one of the big ones, but China had a lot of shit going on.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up, um yeah, I don't know. We'll touch base on that later, what I'm efforting right now. We'll
Okay.
move on to the
Okay.
rest of the show.
So his mausoleum was constructed over 38 years from 246 to 208 BCE, and is situated underneath a 76-meter tall tomb mound shaped like a truncated pyramid. There's
Excuse me?
a lot of adjectives.
A 76-meter
It's
tall tomb
underneath.
mound.
It's underneath like a pyramid that doesn't have a point. You know. Boop.
Yeah, it's just like flat on the top, and it's like built like the inverse down, right? Or am I getting
I
ahead of
don't
the
know.
agenda?
I don't know if it's really inverted as well.
Okay, but it's a pretty big truncated pyramid that we're talking about here.
Yeah, I thought I put down feet. I don't know anything about meters.
I don't either.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google it in real time. How many
right.
feet? How many feet is 76 meters? 249.344 feet.
There you go.
Dang. That's a big one.
I still can't even picture it. I'm not very good at visualizing size.
So am I understanding this correctly? It took them 38 years to build this?
Yep.
Man. So, I mean, who does that? Can you imagine like what would be going on in your mind to be like, you know what? We got 38 years. I'm gonna be gone by
It was
then.
almost like as soon as he started, as soon as he was like emperor, he's like, you know what? I need a crazy ass crypt.
First order of business. First order of business in under my rule, we're gonna get my mausoleum built, and it's gonna be like a fucking theme park underground.
Oh my god, it's so cool. It sounds so fucking cool. If you had to make like a giant mausoleum, like if your idea was that you would die, but you might live under there forever, because it's the same kind of concept with pyramids, you kind of put the shit in there that they'll use in the afterlife or whatever. What are if you could just recreate anything, what is it? Like, do you have a theme park? Do you have just your house? What do you have?
I want to recreate Gatlinburg underground. The Smoky Mountains. We're gonna have to dig deep, but let's make the Smoky Mountains underground so that I can just that's where I can retire to for all of eternity in the afterlife.
That's cool.
Or just my house and my office.
Yeah.
Like just put my desk in there and my computer so I can write my silly little articles and maybe a microphone. Wouldn't that be sick if
no.
I died and then one day this random podcast popped up on the Sobros Network Twitter and you're like, oh, what's that? And then you press play and it's me as a ghost from
you're like underground recording podcast.
I'd be like, dang, it's the future.
Yep, that's it. That's how you live forever.
What would here comes the rain. Here we go.
Oh god. Oh god.
We're gonna test our theory here.
I'm not ready for this.
What would your giant mausoleum look like?
I'm weirdly obsessed with small things, like weird sets. I think it started back with doing like putt-putt golf.
I love
you got the little houses and stuff. I wanted to live in a little house so badly.
Have you ever been to Rock City?
No.
In Chattanooga?
No.
Oh, next time you're down, you should go. They have a whole little like fairyland thing underground. Like you walk into a cave.
Oh, I've seen pictures of that. Yeah.
And they have little miniature scenes.
I was like, I loved the Barbie movie because I was like, I would die if I saw this set. I would never want to leave. I would just try and hide and stay there. They would have to drag my ass out. Like, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So when I die, I'm gonna try and be like a Polly Pocket, just living in a weird like miniature.
I like it. I could also just like see if the emperor has room for me in his mausoleum. Can y'all just like roll my corpse down the stairs and let me in?
Just dump you down there.
Yeah, because I mean it sounds like a pretty cool spot.
It does sound pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, the layout of the mausoleum is modeled on the layout of Xinyang, the capital of the Qin dynasty, which was divided into inner and outer cities. The circumference of the inner city is 1.5 miles and the outer is 3.9 miles.
So is this the mausoleum, or is he talking about the city here?
I honestly don't know. As I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't know what the context is.
Because man, you're talking about what, like I mean, that's like a 5 mile 5 mile underground fortress.
I think this is just the city. I'm gonna
I
guess.
I would hope it's the city.
I'm gonna guess. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, work on the mausoleum began soon after Emperor Qin ascended the throne in 246 BC when he was still 13.
I wasn't doing shit with my life when I was 13.
I know. I don't know your life, but yeah, who's doing anything at 13 besides like Justin Bieber, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Is this guy the predecessor, the first
He's
Justin
the
Bieber?
Justin Bieber of China.
The Justin Bieber of China, yeah.
Although its full-scale construction only started after he had conquered the 6 other major states and unified China in 221 BC. It was completed 208 BC, around 39 years after work started. Oh, God, this is a lot of reiteration. The source of the account of the construction of the mausoleum and its description came from Sima Qian's records of the Grand Historian. He was the Grand Historian, right? So he wrote a book. He came after this guy, so he didn't live at the same time.
That's a cool position title too.
I would love this. I want to be the Grand Historian.
Yeah, for real. So I don't mean to interrupt here, but
go for it.
I just kind of want to make a distinction.
Yeah.
Do we know, was Emperor Qin like a good emperor, or was he not a good emperor? Like, should we be rooting for this guy to have this mausoleum that rules so hard, or was it kind of not very cool?
So he was a dick. He because of legalism, there's a lot of harsh punishments. Like if you're like a Confucianist, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're spouting different philosophies and schools of thought, that's not going to fly with legalism.
Sure.
So harsh punishments, a lot of laws. So kind of like a tyrant, I suppose. I don't know a ton, but I did see, like, you know, it's like you're whipping a lot of people in line, you know?
Yeah.
I have to imagine you're not a very nice person. He also seemed kind of weird.
He seems super weird.
He's kind of a weirdo, so I don't know.
And also, I would just like to tell our audience, if they're watching live, to chime in the comments and let us know what your ideal mausoleum would look like.
Oh, yeah.
Construct a giant one there.
I love this question. I want it to be an opening question.
Yeah.
To meeting somebody, you know, like if you had to make, you meet somebody for the first time, you're like, if you had to make a massive mausoleum.
Yeah. The size of a city block.
What are you putting in there?
Yeah. I like it. I'll start asking people on job interviews when I'm being interviewed for jobs.
They're like, do you have any questions for us? Yes. Have you ever seen a ghost? And if you die and you could have a giant mausoleum, what are you putting in there?
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to know if we're going to be a good fit, boss.
Exactly. Man, the things that we uncover as we do Phone It In.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you.
Okay, so it contains a biography, but it happens like he wrote this after the fact of him being alive. So hold on, I gotta prepare for reading all this.
Do you need to mute yourself real quick and burp, or are we good?
I muted myself.
Oh, how about that? Look, we're getting into a rhythm here.
Okay, so here's what he wrote. Digging and preparation work at Mount Li began when the first emperor first came to the throne. Later, after he had unified his empire, 700,000 men were sent there from all over his empire. They dug through 3 layers of groundwater and poured in bronze for the outer coffin. Palaces and scenic towers for 100 officials were constructed, and the tomb was filled with rare artifacts and wonderful treasure.
You know, now that we're getting into it, not only would I not have any idea what to do with myself if I was named emperor at 13 years old,
Oh
but
God.
I also don't think my first thought at 13 years old would be, I need to get my mausoleum built.
That's what I'm saying. That's part of what makes him such a weirdo. It was like he was almost obsessed with like the afterlife already. But you know, I wonder if that's more normal because I mean, death has to be way more on people's minds in like 200 BC.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Yeah, and what was
You
the
know,
life
like
expectancy
it's
back then?
constant. Yeah, death is everywhere. People die all the time. How long do people
You
live?
know, it sounds like a pretty anxious thing, and, like, I can
Yeah,
relate to
for
that,
sure.
like, I wanna know that my mausoleum is taken care of, and then I'll be able
He
to sleep at night.
he was very obsessed with the idea of immortality in the
Mm.
afterlife. So,
Well, you know, maybe more people should be obsessed with that idea.
I think a lot of people are.
Oh, that's true.
So, craftsmen were ordered to make crossbows and arrows primed to shoot at anyone who enters the tomb. Mercury was used to simulate the 100 rivers, the Yangtze, Yellow River, and the Great Sea, and set to flow mechanically. Above were representation of the heavenly constellations. Below, the features of the land. Candles were made from fat of manfish.
I mean, this
Man,
is hold on.
manfish, which is literally the word now for mermaid. It is mermaid
Yeah.
in Chinese today.
Yeah, so many secrets of the ancient world.
Why are you making candles for mermaids? Why is
Maybe
that
they
what
made
you're
good
doing?
candles. Maybe they made good candles. You know, back in those days, you had to do something with everything.
I
You know,
like
you
that
didn't
we
have a
we
lot of resources.
we have movies about mermaids and they're so magical and they're like, fuck them, we're making candles with this shit.
Yeah, do we know, like, are they killing the mermaids and then slicing their fat open to make
Yeah.
candles with?
What do you think they're doing?
I mean, it
Just
could just be like they find some dead ones.
oh.
You know, it could
Yeah.
be like more of a vulture situation and not a hunter situation. A scavenger, that's the word I'm looking for. They're scavenging mermaids.
I mean, if you have to make candles, you're going to get that resource, right? You're not just waiting for that resource to die
Man,
on the beach.
I'm just imagining like piles of mermaid corpses. Like they're like, we've got to make
Washing
these
up on
candles.
shore. Um,
Also, where are the mermaids now?
I don't
Did
know.
they
They
kill them all to
they
make
killed them
candles?
all for the candles. Yep, they're extinct now because the Chinese were too greedy for those candles.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, mermaid candles are calculated to burn and not extinguish for a long time. So, they're really thinking we need this light. We need what's going to burn for a long time? Mermaids.
Yeah. And this dude's gonna live forever in this mausoleum with all of his comforts.
He's going to
He's
need a lot of light.
Do you know how bad that would suck if
It's pitch black.
if you woke up and you're like, okay, this is where I get to spend the afterlife, and you get like 2 years into eternity and the light goes out.
Oh my god. And then you slowly start turning into the shit from like that cave horror movie, whatever that cave horror movie is.
Gollum.
No, but close enough, yeah.
No,
You
I
sl
don't know. I
you
don't know.
slowly start turning into Gollum.
What a raw deal.
That would suck. I would be pissed about that.
Yeah, they're gonna open it. They're gonna open the tomb one day, and Gollum's gonna be inside, alive and well.
And he's just sitting there, like, obsessing over a ring that was left behind.
Yeah. And then you know what the first thing he's gonna say is, "You should have found more fucking mermaids."
Um, God. Okay. The second emperor said it would be inappropriate for the concubines of the late emperor who have no sons to be out free. So he ordered that they should accompany the dead, and a great many died.
That is astonishing.
Sure is.
Wow.
After the burial, it was suggested that it would be a serious breach if the craftsmen who constructed the mechanical devices and knew of its treasures were to divulge those secrets. Therefore, after the funeral ceremonies had completed and the treasures hidden away, the inner passageway was blocked and the outer gate lowered, immediately trapping all the workers and craftsmen inside. None could escape.
So we definitely know the second emperor was not a very cool guy.
Yeah. Trees and vegetations were then planted on the tomb mound such that it resembles a hill. I like that. Yeah, we killed a bunch of his concubines and the craftspeople, and then we planted some stuff on top.
Yeah. Like, don't worry, guys. This otherwise it would have been inappropriate. That is some heinous stuff.
That really fucking sucks.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
So is that why it looks like a hill today? Did they do all of that? Like because I was looking through the Google images and it does just kind of look like
a mound.
A mountain. Yeah. But I also saw some that like had, I don't know if it was like the blueprints or what, where it actually looked like
I know.
pyramid.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. Maybe it was and it like eroded over time, because when it was discovered, it's not like that was still there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know that that was there. So I don't know.
Man, that's a tough one. That's
Yep.
a tough one. I would not have wanted to have been working that day.
Yeah. This is at least the pyramids didn't do that. You know, they would send their pets in there.
Yeah.
But they didn't trap all the people working on it and kill them.
Yeah, because it was inappropriate. Yeah. That's my favorite part of that, is that it would be inappropriate.
Yeah. You know what? It's really inappropriate for these people to still be alive. Let's actually just kill them.
Let's just shut them in there. It's the right thing to do.
He's going to need his concubines when he's dead. He's going to really need them. Unless they have sons. And then, you know, then they're fine. Then they're fine.
They're good. But also, if you're the first emperor and you wake up in the afterlife and all of a sudden you got a whole bunch of your friends there.
That's nice.
It would be nice to have some company. But
yeah.
They
I mean, maybe not the workers. Like, does he want to hang out with the workers?
Yeah, I don't know. It might actually be a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't actually want to hang out with his concubines and his workers, you know?
Yeah.
If that's all he's got.
Revolt in the afterlife. Maybe that's like the army was marching on the emperor.
Could you imagine you're in your own mausoleum and there's like a fucking coup happening and you're gonna be murdered again? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works out.
I hope he started building his second mausoleum just in preparation.
Even further down.
Even further down. Yeah, that's how it works. More groundwater.
Yeah.
Get it out of there.
So, 6 brothers digging a well in 1974 found some fragments of terracotta, bronze arrowheads, other earthenware. Earthenware is literally just terracotta, so I don't know why they say that again. A couple of months later, a team of archaeologists went to the site and began the first excavations of what would later be designated Pit 1. Over the course of a couple of years, Pit 2 and Pit 3 would be found. A larger necropolis of 600 pits were uncovered in 2008. So kind of recent in terms of archaeology.
Yeah. I would not have guessed 1974.
Yeah.
But can you imagine finding this thing like under your property? Like, no. I go out to my my mom's place and she's got 4 acres out there, and there are parts of the property that we can stand on and we can hear water running underground. Is it probably a sinkhole? Sure. But the thought of like, oh, maybe there's a giant mausoleum with a terracotta army under it excites me a little bit.
That would be such a crazy find. I don't even like if you dig a hole or something, your mind usually goes to like, man, it'd be cool if I just found like an arrowhead. But like thousands of terracotta soldiers,
Yeah,
insane,
like an
insane.
underground arena pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That would
So
be wild. Also, did we touch on, I don't know if it comes up again later in the show, but did we touch on like the crossbows pointing at people and the mercury river that like releases poison steam and kills people? Like this is some Indiana Jones stuff in here to keep.
well, okay, the Mercury River is not supposed to do that.
Oh, they don't know that it does that.
Well, right. They're just this guy was obsessed with mercury.
Yeah.
It was actually at my local museum recently when they had sort of a big exhibit of like poison and
Oh,
toxins. Yeah, it was pretty dope.
that
And
is kind of cool.
like towards the end, they had a setup of people and they had like some witches and I don't know, they had real life examples of people using poisons and whatever. And they had this guy. They had Qin Shi Huang because he loved to drink mercury. He thought it would make him live forever.
I
So,
mean,
which is
anybody
the
have any
opposite of what it would do. But mercury looks really cool. I mean, honestly, if you don't know what mercury is and you stumble on it, it looks magical.
Yeah, I mean, back in those days, I'd probably think like, "Damn, I should drink this." Like
It's
this
like
is
a shiny,
yeah.
thick little metally liquid. It's really cool.
You're probably thinking like, "This is a sign I was bestowed this gift."
I mean, it literally looks like fucking the unicorn blood from Harry Potter,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah.
mercury. So, I would probably drink it too, to be honest.
I definitely would. Yeah, for sure. So I'm not gonna fault our emperor here for that one.
I mean, they were even using mercury in, like, the Wild West for medication, for syphilis.
Well, did it work?
No,
I bet those people didn't have syphilis anymore.
they sure did. They sure did. They would still go crazy and die because unless they took a bunch of it, obviously, but yeah, it just helped them along as well.
Yeah.
So, yay.
The world
Um,
doesn't believe in magic anymore. We don't
but
have people
mercury is
drinking
very
mercury
cool.
anymore.
I had one of those mercury thermometers that broke one time and I definitely touched it. So,
Yeah, I never did. I was always deathly afraid of it because I thought if I touched it, I would die.
I kind of did too, but I
You didn't care.
the intrusive thoughts won. Like I just had to. Like it just looks way too cool, so I get it.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
Okay. So the tomb itself has not yet been excavated. Um, it seems like excavating emperors is not a thing they do. China's very respectful of their dead.
Yeah, but I'd wanna know. I'd wanna know. The curiosity would get me.
Also, there is a concern that the mercury moats are
Yeah.
now toxic once exposed.
Yeah.
That was not the intention. I think arrows and stuff, maybe the intention was like booby trapping stuff, but the mercury was
Yeah.
not the intention.
And there's a layer of sand in it too.
Is
Like
there?
that yeah, that, I was reading that they put there to deter robbers because they couldn't, like you can't dig into sand. If you like, you're trying to dig into
Oh, it's
sand,
harder.
like, more sand just fills in the hole you just dug, so it's really hard, and then if you made it through that would be the part where you've got all the crossbows pointed at you,
That's
and it works
cool.
kinda like a tripwire, where if you trip this wire, these arrows would just unload from all
I
directions.
mean, you're pretty paranoid about thieves. That's why
Yeah,
they
yeah,
killed all the people who knew about it, you know?
yeah. And then if you got through that, the piece I read said that the gases from the steam and the mercury would kill you. It just poison you right then and there.
Yep. So there's also the concern that they don't have the ability to preserve the artifacts. For
Yeah.
example, shortly after being exposed, the paint on the terracotta army flaked off. Like they were painted, but like almost as soon as it was uncovered, it just started falling off.
Mm.
So archaeological explorations currently concentrate on various sites of the extensive necropolis surrounding the tomb, including the terracotta army to the east of the tomb. The terracotta army served as a garrison to the mausoleum and is yet to be completely excavated. So even that is not like this
So there
place
could
is
be
huge.
more.
Yeah.
Could be more. My goodness.
So basically, yeah, they recreated this guy's whole life underground.
I mean, I can respect that.
It's pretty cool.
I think that would be pretty cool.
The necropolis, could you imagine just like, hold on, I'll get to it. The necropolis complex of Qin Shi Huang is a microcosm of the emperor's empire and palace, with the tomb mound at the center. There are two walls, the inner and outer walls surrounding the tomb mound, and a number of pits containing figures and artifacts were found inside and outside the walls. To the west, inside the inner wall, were found bronze chariots and horses. Inside the inner wall were also found terracotta figures of courtiers and bureaucrats who served the emperor. Outside of the inner wall.
Gotta have the homies there.
Yeah. I like that they just have like these clay representations. Like you're
Yeah.
just making mannequin versions of your buddies. It's
Yeah.
very interesting. Outside of the inner wall, but pits with the terracotta figures of entertainers and strongmen, as well as a pit containing a stone suit of armor were found. To the north of the outer wall were found the imperial park with bronze cranes, swans, and ducks with groups of musicians. Outside the outer walls were also found imperial stables where the real horses were buried with terracotta figures of grooms kneeling beside them.
Oof.
To the west were the mass burial grounds for the laborers forced to build the complex.
It's disrespectful.
And it has never flooded by groundwater due to a working drainage system. But what I was going to say is that is so wild to be like underground and just have like, oh, there's the park. You know, should we walk over the park? Just like rebuild life underground.
Yeah. If you could put any entertainers or strongmen in your mausoleum, who would you put there?
Oh my God.
I think I might recreate Midnight in Paris in mine. I'd have like Hemingway there, F. Scott Fitzgerald. Okay. I'd put Owen Wilson there from the movie too. Like he can come along and we're gonna have a good time.
So you're recreating a movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's so many.
And I might put I don't know. I don't listen to anybody. John Mayer. John Mayer could come with
I'm putting the old Mortal Kombat movie. That's why I'm gonna have Goro down there.
All right. I respect the energy.
And then, you know, I'm gonna have, but this is like park musicians, you know. I can't really put Ghost next to the Swans. Seems weird.
Yeah, a little bit. That's why I said John Mayer.
Yeah, he's a park musician. I could see that.
John Mayer, Jack Johnson. I'll just vibe the rest of my afterlife.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't want to move into dangerous territory where the mannequins that I'm hanging out with become like sex dolls or something. Like we need to...
You're right. We might.
In which Goro fills both positions.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone. nonetheless, we're on to the Terracotta Army. Goro's fingers are so fat.
They are. That's all I was thinking about too. 4 arms with those fat ass fingers.
Oh man. We're gonna get kicked off the internet today for sure. Have we lost our place? Do we know where we're at?
Okay. No, I know where I am. I'm just like crying and like phlegmy now and having a rough time.
Let's keep it together. Keep it together.
Okay.
We're down the home stretch.
So Pit 1 contains a main army of more than 6,000 figures.
It's a lot of shit.
That's so much. Pit 2 has cavalry and infantry units as well as war chariots and is thought to represent a military guard. Pit 3 is a command post with high-ranking officers and a war chariot. Pit 4 is empty, perhaps left unfinished by its builders. In total, 8,000 warriors. I mean, so far, if there's more.
Did nobody around our emperor here say like, hey man, this kind of seems a little excessive?
I don't know that you're going to go to war underground, man.
Yeah, like
I know.
Maybe he's just, preparing for anything. We've already established this is a pretty anxious thing to do. Maybe he was anxious about what could potentially come for him.
I mean, it's crazy. That is crazy. Especially since the terracotta figures are life size, typically ranging from 5'7" to 6'6". They vary in height, uniform, and hairstyle in accordance with rank. Their faces appear to be different for each individual figure.
That's a lot of work.
That's so much. Scholars, however, have identified 10 basic face shapes, but they're still unique faces.
Yeah.
Drives
me nuts that they just like all these people did all this work and then they're just like, nope, close the door.
Yeah, and now we bury it underground for nobody to appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, I bet it looks so fucking cool down there.
Yeah.
Like, if it goes into like, bomb shelter territory where people make like houses and like their backyards and in bomb shelters. I love those things.
Yeah.
I love a good like 50s looking bomb shelter. Those things are so cool.
Hey, this is a pretty cool bomb shelter potentially.
Yeah, like if a bomb's coming, I'm gonna go to Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum actually.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
Hop on a plane.
Shit.
The terracotta figures are life-sized. Oh, we got that. We got through that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There are, however, many variations in the uniforms within ranks. So, for example, some may wear shin pads while others don't have them. Some might have long or short trousers. Some are padded, some aren't. Their body armors are vary depending on rank, function, and position in formation. So, like all of this detail for 8,000 of these things.
Yeah, and I mean, you can look at the photos and see the detail in every single one of these. It's just,
what drives me crazy?
Blows my mind.
Human beings used to make things.
Yeah.
And now we don't make shit except for like cheap garbage that breaks within like a couple of months.
Well, I mean, that's, capitalism for you.
Oh my God.
We don't have to start that rabbit hole again, but
God, this is so cool though. People used to make such cool shit, and it sucks because you get these fucking idiots in TV shows who are like, no, aliens did it. It's like, no, we just actually used to be real fucking people who made cool shit, and we don't do that anymore.
It's like your average everyday human back then could make a myriad of things that they just needed, whether useful, art, whatever, like people could do stuff.
They were so much better at making shit and practical knowledge than we are today.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's wild because we have scientific advances to aid us and we just don't care.
It's like we just get dumber and dumber. It's why cars have to have like a fucking camera or like beep if there's a car blind spot because people can't even turn their fucking head to look next to them.
Yep. Nope. I feel you. I feel you.
It drives me crazy.
And I mean, there's nobody's keeping these companies in check to make quality products. So they're just making stuff designed to be obsolete in a few years so that you have to go back and buy
Buy
another one.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just have all these people that are, useless and just dependent upon the capitalist product to get us by.
Yeah.
It's
But
fucked up.
it's just people used to be able to do some really cool shit, and it wasn't aliens. It's just we fucking suck now.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
What's the coolest thing that you can do with your hands? Oh no. Oh no.
No.
I will answer
joking.
that question. I can make a leather journal. I can play guitar. I can build stuff. I'm okay at building stuff. And I can plant seed and get out with a shovel, dig. I can, what is it? Hoe a row? Row a hoe? Something like that. Whatever it is, I can do that.
I don't know. I mess around with bass a little bit. I like to I can do really I'm really good with fine motor skills. So like if there's a tiny little thing to put together, I can build tiny little things. Really delicate work, I should try cross stitch, but I'm too scared to make the first stitch.
Cross stitch the Phone It In logo.
No.
And I can put it in my mausoleum.
I mean, that'd be cool. That's a cool thing to do. I won't.
Yeah.
I can write in cursive. I don't think people can do that anymore.
Yeah. Can you change a tire?
No.
Okay. Can change a tire. Yeah, maybe that's, I mean, I can kind of paint. I'm not any good, but I can at least, get vision from head to canvas.
I can kind of paint. I can kind of draw.
But how many people do you know? Well, maybe this is not, I don't want us like outing people in our social circles. I can think of a very select few people that I know are very good with their hands, just handsy in general. It's a small number, you know, and that's just an illustration of the point we're setting forth here. Is like back then.
Yeah, I mean, I've made cool things like before when I was a kid. When you have the opportunity, I was pretty good at doing like clay sculptures and stuff, and I was a much better artist than I am today because I don't. Continue to do those things.
Yeah.
But working with clay was always fun.
Some food for thought, maybe our viewers can watch this and decide for themselves, like, I'm going to do something with my hands now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go out in the backyard. Sorry, I'm burping. I got the bearded iris going. Sometimes I go out in the backyard and I just stick my hand on the ground and just pull out a clump of grass just so that I can feel connected with the earth.
Oh, I mean, I don't do that, but
I don't know how we got here from the Terracotta Army, but
okay, a series of sculptures dubbed the Acrobats are wholly unique. Oh, you know what? I'm pretty good at does this count as doing stuff with your hands? I'm pretty good at
acrobating?
No, but I'm pretty good at yoga.
Okay.
I'm pretty flexible.
Well, that's a skill.
It's not handsy though. I mean, you use your hands, but I guess you don't need hands to do that stuff.
You're not consuming some commercial junk.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. What hobbies do you have that aren't media related? So that excludes stuff like books and writing even.
Well, I do like to build stuff. I built our table that's out on our back porch. I built a couple of things that are around the house. I do like to garden, but I don't usually, I'm not very good at it. Like I said, I can dig a hole in the ground and throw some seeds in it, but I don't think I have the flexibility, the availability on a daily basis to do what it takes to get really good at it. I like to cook. Does cooking count?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
cooking counts.
yeah. But that's not media related. I don't know. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
What about you?
Working out, walking.
There we go.
You know, honestly, that kind of takes up a lot of my time. So
Yeah,
I guess that probably is my biggest hobby at this point.
that's healthy.
And then everything else involves media of some kind. I hate cooking.
I didn't know you hated cooking.
I hate cooking.
It's a bummer. You can
Something about it
create.
really, I know, something about it really grosses me out, and then I don't want to eat it.
Yeah, I don't know, I could see that being a bit of a, well, I'm not a cook, but I'm the cook in our household. So I could see like some stuff I prepare and I'm like, woof, this looks real weird right now. And it
You know
comes
what it
out of the
is?
crock pot 6 hours later and it's good.
Well, the crock pot is fine. That's kind of different. I think a lot of it is I really hate textures on my hands. I hate touching things.
Yeah.
So I prefer baking because I like the way that flour and dough feel. But
So that counts.
I don't like the way that food feels.
Gotcha.
If
Gotcha.
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We're quite off topic.
So they had 8,000 people back then that could make a statue. I don't know that I could find 8,000 people that could make a statue
Oh,
today.
well, no, they had a lot more workers than that. They had like
Oh wait, they had 8,000
They
statues.
had 8,000 statues. It was something like
Yeah.
800,000 workers, 700,000 men.
That's crazy. And
Yeah.
nobody said like, "Hey, what are we doing here?"
Maybe they did. Maybe there was some that said that. Okay, so the acrobats. The number of these figures uncovered thus far are relatively few compared to the more noted warrior figures, with a total discovered probably numbering a dozen. But the figures are bare with the exception of a loincloth. But some of the men are very lean, while others have massive bodies, several of them shown in the process of moving or making gestures. Like it's very
Dancing?
more like anatomical. It's very
Mm,
like let's see the body and let's do some unique poses. Like the terracotta warriors are all kind of like standing there, have like their hand up like this,
sure,
whatever.
sure.
But these are all like very have more movement.
Gotcha. They're dancing,
Yeah.
making
Or they're
gestures.
like strong men. There's like some bulky ass. Like you can look them up. There's like some bulky one.
Man, I miss my
Goro.
calling. I miss my calling. If I could have lived in ancient times and just like gone on the road with a show, just lifting shit and throwing
Yes.
it like that would have been so cool.
I feel like that would have been more my job. I'd try to be a little circus person. I don't want to do
Yeah.
anything
I
really.
could totally see myself being in the circus back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. I've thought about it even these days. Some people do some cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like, damn, I'll throw on some rollerblades and learn how to juggle, whatever.
Yeah. I'll get on a motorcycle and drive as fast as I can through a flaming ring.
Well, there's more like indie ones, like the ones that will have just the people doing like the hoop dancing kind of stuff
Yeah.
and fire eating and
Mhm.
that aren't like the full-blown tent circus.
Gotcha. Okay, my bad. I
Um,
got carried away. We have one more section left.
okay, so Qin Shi Huang became obsessed with drinking mercury, thinking it would make him immortal. He would go on these imperial inspection tours. In the last 10 years of his life, he died at 49.
Which is like, it seems like a long life back then.
Well, the thing with being back then is that you know, if you didn't have like a dangerous job, you could live quite long. I mean, if he wasn't
Mm.
drinking mercury, he could probably have been older. It's just
Man.
you had to be lucky enough to kind of live past being a reckless youth.
Yeah.
Um,
So, which he clearly did because he was 13, worried about his mausoleum.
yeah. So a lot of times, you know, people who are dying young, it's like they get sick,
Yeah.
or you know, you're a fucking soldier or something, or you're a woman who dies in childbirth, that kind of thing. But if like you're lucky enough to make it past these things, you can live for a while.
Who knew?
Um,
This whole time, my whole life, I thought people were just dying at 18, like an automatic thing.
Another motive for his travels was his interest in magic and alchemy and his search for masters in these arts who could provide him with the elixir of immortality. I'm changing my mind. I'm gonna be an alchemist. That's what I
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah, I can't fault him for this, 'cause
No.
I've said it over and over on this show, but I would have been doing the same shit if I
Yes.
was the emperor back in the
Yeah.
day.
I already
You
touched Mercury. I get it. Like,
I'm kinda still there are times still in 2024 where I'm like, "You know what? I bet magic is real and they're all just hiding it from us."
for sure.
So I've gotta go explore and find the real magicians out there, the sorcerers.
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna fault him for that.
No.
And we've talked about it before. I don't know if it's been on this show before, but with the vampire conversation, like I would
Yeah.
like to I would be comfortable living forever, I think.
Yeah. I would not. Um,
Well, it's just assuming I can make immortal friends, because like I have a weak heart. You know what I'm saying? Like I see, like if we like hit a bird on the freeway or something, I'm like crying, like, oh,
mm,
that poor bird. So like I'm gonna be a wreck as I get older and all my human friends die. But
yeah.
but once all the human friends are dead, then I just make other vampire friends and I don't even fuck
You
with
don't have to
the
worry
human
about
friends.
that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Does that answer your question? So
Why is that the funniest thing you could have said?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh shit.
We're almost there. We're almost there.
Um, the last the last years of Shi Huang's life were dominated by an ever-growing distrust of his entourage. So, a very paranoid guy. Probably the mercury poisoning did not help.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like there were 3 assassination attempts, nearly succeeded.
Yes, and his increasing isolation from the common people.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
almost inaccessible in his huge palaces, the emperor led the life of a semi-divine being.
Now, what is a semi-divine being?
No idea.
Is this
People, I mean, I guess he's just isolated. He's like, everybody's like, oh, mysterious guy just
well,
shut away in his
yeah.
hall.
Yeah, and I think it's like an interesting, psychological thing here where, like, if you are treated as a god for long enough, do you then just think
You
like,
are
if
one.
yeah, if people construct this life around you as they would a god, it's only natural for you to I'm not saying it's not clear that he thought he was a god by any stretch of the
I
imagination,
mean,
but if people do it for you, I mean, it kinda I don't know, I think it kinda makes sense.
there is some crazy like ritual thing that some emperors did, and he was one of them. I think he started
Yeah,
it, but it was like an above below kind of thing. So like you go this mountain peak and then you do something on land, but it's like you had to know that you were of a certain status to even do it because that's how important this
gotcha.
like ritual was.
Yeah,
So he absolutely has an ego for sure.
yeah.
I
Alright.
mean, kings have always had an ego. People now have a fucking ego. But like kings have been like, "Oh, yes. Of course I'm better. I come from this bloodline of fucking incest, inbred pieces of shit,
Hell
but
yeah.
God ordained me to be the king and rule over you peasants."
Yeah. You're right, you're right. Hey, I was just asking.
I hope that answers your question. Okay, so is there a curse on the warriors?
I don't know. I do not know. That's why I'm on this show, to learn.
So everyone was afraid. Okay, this is a quote. Everyone was afraid to touch it, like the terracotta bits when they first discovered it. We thought it was a temple statue, a Buddha, perhaps. We were frightened that the Buddha would punish us, commented Yang Chuanyi.
Okay.
One of the original workers. So among the well diggers, one committed suicide while the others either died in poverty or have had to resort to signing books about the discovery for meager pay. So there's this idea of like even touching it, being a part of this. You have like a curse on you now.
Well, you know, I can understand that for sure.
I don't think there's a curse. There's just some bullshit article.
I wouldn't go touching stuff that I dug up out of the ground like that.
I mean, if it just looks like pottery, though, how are you gonna know? But if you see a full-blown statue coming out of the ground, yeah, I probably. Well,
was it coming? Is that how they found it? It was just coming out of the ground like a
well, it says we thought it was a temple statue, a Buddha, perhaps. So they had to have seen enough of something to know that there was a statue. God, how? So they're just digging this hole and then they find like a full-blown fucking statue. That's crazy.
Man, where are they going to put the well? Where did they put the well?
I don't know. They dug through all that groundwater. It's not even there anymore. You gotta find a new place to put the well.
Bummer.
Yeah, imagine all your property just being taken away from you because it's like, oh, sorry, this is actually a really important site.
Yeah, that would suck. Did you find? I couldn't really find anything supernatural surrounding this.
No.
Like this is a pretty straightforward show today, but I didn't know if maybe you got a little deeper.
I tried. That's why I found that stupid bullshit curse.
Does it strike you as weird that there's this thing that exists that we don't really know a whole lot about, but there's not anything supernatural tied to it? I mean, aren't these the things that myths and legends throughout the year kind of just naturally arise out of?
I think China's kind of different where in a lot of their stuff like this is almost like practical. You know?
Yeah.
If that even makes sense. Like, I mean, I'm reading this series of books about like, it's totally fictional, but Chinese, and you just kind of get an idea of the culture reading kind of their myths and stories, but it's like anything spiritual or paranormal is almost more practical than anything else. And they're very like zen about it. You know, it's not like things terrify them necessarily.
Yeah. Cool.
It's like they have a lot of spiritual mastery. A lot of what was really important to them is weird stoicism, you know, like, oh, we'll bind their feet, but it'll give you so much character because you're going through all this pain. It's like really bottling shit up and mastering your own emotions and mindset. Very rigid, kind of practical. This China's interesting.
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
No, it doesn't.
They're not really.
They're not like they're not the fun time party country.
No. All right. Well, we did it. We made it to the end of another show. Rooster, do you have any parting thoughts before we get out of here today?
No.
Do you know what we're going to be talking about in 2 weeks?
No.
Okay. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yep.
Well, let our listeners know where they can find you on social media.
Rooster_Chase on all major sites.
There you go. And I'm at Stoney Keeley on Twitter, at Sobros Network, collectively on all major social media platforms. You can check out all of our work at sobrosnetwork.com. Of course, sign up for the Sobro Substack to get all of our premium content. Sobro Saturday, along with all of my coverage of the Tennessee Titans and the NFL Draft, stackingtheinbox.com, and support the team with some merch we got up at sobroshop.com, and rate, review, subscribe to Phone It In. Wherever you take in your podcast, we are out there in these internet streets. We are not too hard to find. Once again, she's the Cryptid Queen Rooster. I'm Big Natural Stoney Keeley. And until next time, you stay classy, phoners.
Bye.
The Sobros Network proudly brings to you two friends reunite coast to coast to phone it in on history, the creepy and the bizarre, lifestyle and travel, psychological and sociological phenomena. Well, pretty much anything. This is Phone It In on the Sobros Network.